Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Waiting to see who all's going to come in. I see a couple here already. Joel and Marilee, good to see you. Boy, today the time just about got away from me. It's been kind of one of those days, that I don't know. I didn't do anything really. Um, Somehow or another, me and Mark both got our wires crossed, and we thought that both of our um oncology appointments were today or this morning. So, Megan drove me so I wouldn't have to drive because sometimes I'm just exhausted after a day out like that. And he went on to work, but then he drove over from work. And when he got there, we figured out that they're tomorrow. So I did get my blood work done, so it wasn't a total loss. Hey, Evie. But yeah, we drove an hour over and an hour back for nothing, basically. Have to turn around and go back tomorrow for my appointment. They couldn't fit me in or they would have, or they couldn't fit us in or they would have. And, I was like, if they could even fit Mark in, hey, Hef, good to see you too. Yeah, oh no. But anyway, not a big deal, other than I'm like, I have to get out in the cold again tomorrow. And my poor bones just don't like it. So anyway, so there's that. So we'll find out tomorrow if Mark has to have any chemo or radiation or anything. And we'll find out, I guess, if she's going to go ahead and book my scans, which then I'll just sit and be a nervous wreck until the scans are over. And I know the reports. I'm already getting nervous because I know it's coming up time to see. And I know this is going to maybe sound illogical to some of you, but I I hate when I'm having chemo or radiation or anything, especially I hate radiation, but I hate chemo too. I don't like being sick. Nobody does. But when I'm not having it, because like right now, I do still have cancer. There is still cancer in this side of my chest. And I know it's there and I'm not having any kind of treatment. And that's terrifying, y'all. So I don't know if any of you all have had any kind of experience with that or if you can kind of understand it. But it is absolutely terrifying to me when I'm not having treatment. I told Mark, I said, I almost wish that they would give me like a placebo and just tell me, like, here, take this, baby aspirin looking thing, but it's really chemo and it's not going to affect you. You're not going to be sick, but we're still fighting cancer. I wish that they could do something like that because you've done that. Because I panic when I know that I'm not treating it. And it really, really, really scares me a lot. So anyway, y'all gonna have to put up with me for a little while where I'm a little nervous probably. And till we get those scans booked. Once they're booked, I'll kind of chill till it gets the last, few days before the scans. And then so far, y'all, we have this thing called My Chart. I don't know if you all have that. Hey, totally Jersey, good to see you. Um, but we have My Chart, and sometimes I know what my results are the same day. And a lot of times I know what my results are before my doctor has had a chance to read them, because she's still seeing patients all day while my results are sitting there in the chart, right? So sometimes I'm not even home yet. I'm not even an hour away from my appointment, and I know what they say. And so, then she's usually booking me in pretty fast to give me those results. And I'm like, I already know. So anyway, I know it's crazy. I know, it's crazy. Jill says, I don't have any experience with the big C, but I think that Susie is as brave as they come and stands tall in the face of what must be a great fear. It's terrifying. I admire her for this. Thank you. Thank you. I Yeah, Hef, you obsess over your blood work. Yeah, like today, because it can show some cancer markers in my blood work. And so I'm always nervous when I have blood work done too. And I haven't went and looked. I'm just like, I'm trying to be chill about it. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get started. Today we're going back to talking about Scientology, as you probably saw from the thumbnail. Guys, they're I was talking to Megan about it today, my oldest daughter, and I said, I don't understand why they will work twice as hard to do the wrong thing than it would take to do the right thing. It's they're making that choice. They're choosing to do the wrong thing. Hey, DJ Nico, good to see you. I was just talking about you earlier, actually. I don't even remember. Oh, I was talking about that you were showing me some of those cards that you had gotten and how cute they were and everything. And so I was telling my daughter about it. But anyway, Scumtology. That's a good one. We might have to use that one. So anyway, uh, anyway, I guess I'll go ahead and get started. Several of you are in here now. It's good to see you. And this one shouldn't be all that long. Mischief would be proud of me. Now, she's not going to be here today. She had something come up. So I'm just, I'm going to talk to her later and make sure everything's okay. But she didn't seem too upset. So we'll see. But anyway, it's good to be here and back on Scientology's ass. That's my favorite thing to be, favorite place to be. It's on their ass. So, oh, I know what's wrong. I don't have that light on. Oh, well, I think I can see good enough. So, as we all know, the Los Angeles wildfires have been ravaged, they've been ravaging the area, the greater Los Angeles area. I'm gonna have to hold on just a second. Let me turn this light on because I can't see. So I'll be right back. I promise. It's just right like 10 feet away. Thank you, sweetheart. Sorry about that. I came in here and forgot all about turning that light on, and it doesn't do much with the lighting on the screen really, but it does a whole lot for what I see on these cards. So anyway, as we know, yes, Scientology or the wildfires have ravaged Los Angeles, y'all. And not only are firefighters from all over California and other states coming, but crews are coming from Mexico and Canada too. And I just want to say thank you to them. If any of you that will watch this video are from Canada, from Mexico, and you know a firefighter that goes there, or just anybody, just if you know a firefighter there in those countries, please thank them because sometimes people don't take a time out of when it's something so frantic, they don't take time to think, we really just need to make sure that they know we appreciate it. And I want to check into it because I want to make sure that we go help these people too. So, I just, I just, I know that we can't let every single person that wants to come into the country come into it. But that's also how our country was built, and so the thought of just, like, saying, "You can't come in at all," just breaks my heart, and that's about as political as I wanna get, but I'm just saying, it really shows that there are so many good people on our borders, right? Whenever they are here immediately, every time we need help, they're here, and it just and firefighters just have a special place in my heart anyway. I mean, you can't really go wrong. Firefighters are pretty awesome people. So, anyway, on top of the firefighters that are there from all across the nation and, of course, these other countries, there are many humanitarian organizations, and they are tirelessly trying to assist those who've lost everything they own. And a few people have lost lives. I'm not gonna give a number because I didn't look for the to date number, and I'd rather say nothing than be wrong. So, anyway, some of the people are just honestly frantic to reunite with loved ones, family members or whatever that they can't find because it's not like they were, some of them, especially in the early days of the fires, they weren't sitting around waiting, for this to hit. It hit very quickly, and winds can shift and it's coming in a different direction. We had some horrendous wildfires here, not like this, but close for our little state. And it's terrifying, y'all, and when you don't know where everybody's at, and when honest to God, it would be easier to name the number of how or the people who own houses that didn't get burned than the ones that did burn. It is horrifying. And so these humanitarian groups are helping with all that too, and feeding and clothing and giving them water and places to stay, and it's just it's just everything. Some people are getting help from these mandatory things or from these humanitarian things because they had mandatory evacuation. So some of them don't even know if their house burned or not, or, if even if they know, they can't go back in yet because the fire's between them and where their house is. So, it's just, oh, it's terrifying. It's just terrifying. And I want to, also give a big, applause to the humanitarian groups that do that and the people that donate to these humanitarian groups. I mean, and right here, right after Christmas, I hate that this is happening, but as awful as it is, and it is horrible, it's also kind of amazing to see everybody just coming together. Nobody cares about anybody's religion, politics, anything else, right? They're just coming together and trying to help. But, y'all, for every good deed, there's got to be a jerk. I'm trying to not cuss too bad. One self proclaimed humanitarian organization in particular is indeed working tirelessly, y'all. The problem being is that this organization is working tirelessly at self promotion. And who do we think reigns supreme in the self promotion area? Yeah. Oh gosh, the last count last 24. Yeah, that's what I had seen, but I wasn't sure. Scientology, y'all. Scientology, the self promoting kings of the universe, as far as I'm concerned. While others are actively hands on helping victims, Scientology, y'all, has allegedly been hands on other people's stuff. Okay? Their water and other supplies. And they just move them over a little bit. They don't actually steal them, they move them over a little bit. Kind of, we're just helping you just arrange this a little different. And then they do photo ops that are very nicely cropped so that it looks like that they're doing the work. And guess what? They do this in front of news crews, like not the moving stuff, but the photo ops and the standing around looking like they're doing something. Doesn't that sound about right? It just, oh, it just made me insane. Like I've got people there and I'm like right now, they can't I had a couple that would have come on here because they've been affected. They've been evacuated, but they're trying to help with the humanitarian efforts too, because they didn't lose their home. They were evacuated, but they didn't lose their home. So they're trying to gather up people that they know. And as soon as they can go back to their home, they're going to take like a group of people to their home. So they're not sleeping in tents and everything else. They're really trying to help. And then we got Scientology with their billions of dollars, billions, and a free workforce, you know? So anyway, oh my gosh. They dress up in their bright goldenrod t-shirts, which I find kind of funny because, that's kind of supposed to be kind of insulting. And they also have windbreakers. Some of them are in windbreakers. And their volunteer ministers, they really do stand out in those t-shirts and stuff. I mean, that's who you're noticing is because they're bright and clean. But I still think the color choice is comical. But they somehow managed to stay absolutely pristine clean, regardless about the fact that this is not clean work. This is dirty work. You have people that have been standing around, even the firefighters that come in and need a break. You're around people that's got soot and everything on them. You've got people that have been able to go back to their homes and dig through and see if they can find grandma's ring or grandpa's pocket knife. It comes down to grandma's ring and grandpa's pocket knife. that they're searching for, and they're even lucky if they find those kind of items. All their pictures, everything's gone, and Scientology is worried about taking pictures that they can post online and get in the newspaper or on TV. It's just and they're spotless. So how much work are they doing when they're spotless? Those goldenrod shirts are clean, y'all. So anyway, what did I do? I think I gave the wrong one. I did something wrong. Hold on, I'm sorry, because I've got notes on one thing that I need to. So, okay, I'm just gonna like wing it on part of this because I don't know what I did with that one card. Okay, so I decided to go ahead because I had been hearing that this was happening, even from some friends. So, people on the ground, right? I had been hearing that this was happening, and I thought, surely it's not as bad as you think. Surely they wouldn't, you know, surely they wouldn't, because surely they would. But I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I watched part of a video that Aaron did or something that was talking about that they were doing it, and I thought, okay, well, that's what started it, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna try to ask some of my friends if they know anything. And then the friends kind of backed it up, and I thought, okay. So then I thought, well, I'm going to go and check the Scientology website. So that's kind of how this video progressed. If you want to know, like, what did I come up with? It started basically with Aaron, but it ended with friends that live pretty close to the area and did, in fact, get, you know, torn from their homes. Luckily, they didn't lose their homes, but some of their friends did, and some of their family did, but they didn't. So anyway, everybody's just trying to get reunited at this point. So, so anyway, I looked at the Scientology website, okay, and there it was, all these pictures, very well cropped, of them just standing around looking at a car that was burnt out, standing around some stuff, not doing anything, but there they are in their pristine little goldenrod shirts and looking pretty good. But what got me, I mean, first of all, I was furious. I was just like pissed. I'm like, well, there it is. It's the truth. And so I read their little long ass article. And in it, they quote some guy. The only identifying thing they said was that his name was Alberto. And most of it, you can go read it. Most of it was what he supposedly said, okay? Like quotes from him. It was in quotes, like this is what he said, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you, I've done a lot of interviews, and nobody in an interview, not even judges, I've interviewed authors, I've interviewed a lot of people, okay? Very educated. I don't mean this as a cut down. I mean it around the board, but let's just say I have interviewed some very educated people, English teachers, English professors. I have interviewed a lot. None of them talked as well as this Alberto guy did. You're not going to convince me, for all the money that Scientology has, that he gave these quotes. I guarantee it's an AI generated thing. You can just go in, write me a speech about this, or you can punch in what you want to say, and then they'll dress it up for you. Okay. So I did write some of the stuff down, and it just doesn't. Okay, yeah. Okay, I think I'm right. I just misplaced a little part. So anyway, this Alberto said that, he wanted to be there for more than just a shoulder to cry on. And he spoke, I'm telling you, you need to go read it. I mean, which I'm going to read it to you. He spoke so like proper and just everything. So anyway, um oh, here we go. I got all twisted here for some reason. So anyway, what I wanted to say to Scientology was, actually do some work or go join somebody that already is. Don't lie about it. Don't make up, photo ops and stuff, and don't make up quotes from some guy named from Scientology named Alberto. And I think they only did that because it was Spanish sounding, and they're trying to convince everybody that they give a flying shit about the Mexican population or anybody else, and they don't give a shit about anybody. Obviously. This was obvious. So, anyway, so I wanna give you some of the quotes that he said, and I mean, after all, it says in there that he hit the ground running. As soon as the fires started, he says, okay, but first of all, I'm not dissing Alberto. I don't think he hit the ground running and was there to help as soon as the fires started, but and I don't think he said what they say he said, and I would have liked it better if it was in plain talk. It would have been much more readable and more believable. But anyway, he says, okay, this is one of his quotes. I have seen the pain, heard the people crying, heartbroken over the loss of their belongings. The first part starts out kind of almost okay, but give me a minute. It gets bad. Anyway, so heartbroken over the loss of their belongings. I've heard the frustration, but I've also witnessed the bravery and courage of people who, despite having lost absolutely everything, say, I will rise above this. Mm. What in the world? Oh, I am missing one. Dang it. That's the one I'm missing. Okay, we're just going to do it. Anyway, he then goes on to say that that they're suffering and that he has figured out that in their suffering, it, you don't need to just be a shoulder to cry on, that they need more than that. No, Alberto, no, Scientology. Sometimes they just need a shoulder to cry on. I mean, that's the truth. And if Scientology went and said, we are just going to be a shoulder to cry on, then I'd be like, okay. But no. While they're doing it, they're handing out pamphlets. Can you just imagine? Oh, you lost your house? You lost your car? Well, come and join the Sea Org. You won't need a house anymore. We'll put you up. We'll feed you. You won't need a car because you can't go anywhere because you're going to be working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right? They are out there trying to recruit people, handing out pamphlets. Not pamphlets of where they can go to get help, pamphlets of where they can go to get Scientology. Is that not just absolutely sick? It makes me want to vomit. He says that it's not enough to be a shoulder to cry on and to just listen to their stories, but you have to try to find solutions to the problems they face. It has taught me, being a volunteer minister, it has taught me that it's not enough to view the problem from the outside. You must become one with those who are afflicted and suffering. Being a volunteer minister has taught me not to simply say, I'm sorry for what you're going through, but rather to count on me. For me, becoming a volunteer minister isn't a job, it's responding to a calling in life. Sounds like Tom Cruise, who, if you pass an accident on the road, you know, as a Scientologist, that you have to stop and help them because you're the only one that can. I mean, piss on those firefighters and EMT people and paramedics and police and all of that. Forget all of them. Scientologists are the only ones that can help. There was more, y'all. But the statement went on to applaud the cult, and that it said, the Church of Scientology volunteer ministry program is a religious social service crafted in the 1970s by L. Ron Hubbard. They had to get his name in there. It constitutes, this is where I had fun. It constitutes one of the world's largest independent relief forces. Now, that one bugged the crap out of me. I was like, but are they though? And y'all, first of all, there's no way that Alberto talked as eloquently as all of his quotes were, and there was several. You'll have to go read them yourself because I lost the page that had some of them. So, but anyway, there's nobody talks the way that he was written down as talking. But the Church of Scientology is one of the largest relief forces. I call bullshit on that one. I really do. I call it on the whole damn mess. And I looked it up and I found this, and I'm going to read it. It's a little lengthy because there's several names, but it won't take that long. It's just, a little bit here. I looked up world's largest, relief organizations, whatever, humanitarian relief organizations. And I found, and I don't know if these are in order. I just know this is how it was printed on the deal that I saw on the internet. Okay. So if it's not in the right order, that's not me doing it. I didn't mix them up. This is just how it was on there. So United Nations, World Food Program, American Red Cross, International Federation, Direct Relief, Catholic Relief Services, Refugees International, Save the Children Fund, UNICEF, World Jewish Relief, Caritas Internationalists, Samaritan's Purse, Yemen Relief and Reconstruction, Steering Committee for Human and for humanitarian relief, sorry, or response, sorry. World Vision International, International Committee of Red Cross, United Nations Office, Human Affairs, World Relief, International Medical Corps, Action Against Hunger, UNRWA, Cooperative for Assistance, MAP International, U.S. Agency for, I don't know what that says. Anyway, it's in another, something, I don't know. Oh, Internal Development, I'm sorry. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Consortium of British Humanitarians, Network of Empowered Aid Response, South African Initiative, the Humanitarian Coalition, U.S. Fund for UNICEF, I can't talk, people, Oxfam Canada, International Rescue, Doctors Without Borders, just Oxfam, not the Oxfam Canada, International Red Cross, CARE International, United Nations High Commissioners for Refugees, Islamic Relief Worldwide, AmeriCares, United Nations Systems, Doctors Without Borders USA, Christian Humanitarian Aid for Africa, and that's spelled AFI or AFRIKA, Somali Relief and Development, World Relief Germany, Bureau of Population Relief, Action MDE. Did anyone hear anything about the cult of Scientology? Out of all of those, and they are one of the world's biggest, they didn't even get a mention. And, I searched several sites. Some of them didn't show as many. That was the one that showed the most. Some of them showed the top 10. Some of them showed, whatever. But I wanted to get the one that showed the most because I was trying to get Scientology on the damn list. And it didn't ever do me any good. They were never there. So what really chaps my ass about this whole story, y'all, is that Scientology absolutely has the money and the free manpower to be a huge service to those in need anywhere. And I mean, they're international, cult. They ought to be helping people all over the country and all over the world, right? But anyway, they choose not to do that, but instead create fake photo ops. How absolutely horrible, I mean, just vile is that? You don't see the organizations that are actually doing the work staging photo ops. They're too busy. They're also not pristinely clean. And it's certainly not in view of news crews. Whenever you see the news things, the ones that are actually doing the work, they've got their backs to things. They're picking up heavy boxes. They're moving. They're handing stuff over to someone else. They're moving. What are Scientology doing? Standing around with their thumb up their ass. That's what they're doing. It just makes me so freaking mad. It's not really that difficult to make a huge impact. And they choose repeatedly to pretend to care. And y'all, I'm going to tell you a story, and it's about me. And I swear to God, I swear, I am not patting my own back. I'm trying to make a point about how easy it is to make an impact. Okay? So, I wrote this down because I get emotional, and I may end up just being able to tell the story, but if not, I've got my notes in case I can't get through it. In 2005, a little hurricane called Katrina hit New Orleans. Does anybody remember that? Devastation everywhere. It was horrible. It was an enormous natural disaster topped off with basically a man-made disaster when the levees failed, right? People had 18 foot of water in their homes. Can you even imagine 18 foot of water in your home? And again, please, I'm not patting myself on the back. I don't think that I did anything. That's my point, is that I didn't do anything fabulous. I did what probably any of you would do if you could, right? We do what we can, and we can't what we can't, but you do what you can. I wanted to help, and I was the secretary at my local church, my local Baptist church, and I also was a Sunday school teacher there. Anyway, Mark and I taught the class together because I was nervous doing it by myself, and and I mean, he didn't want to go to Sunday school like our normal Sunday school class. He didn't want to go in there without me, and I was teaching, so he goes, "I'll just go in with you." So we did that. Well, some of the kids, very prominent little kids in this area, were making really rude comments and saying that all of the people that had lost their homes and that were coming on buses from New Orleans up to other states to get help, to have somewhere to stay, because there was nowhere to stay. They were calling them criminals and prostitutes and said they were all sinners. Well, I was furious, and I tried to talk to the parents, and they got on my ass about it. Okay. It's one of the things that led to when I left. Okay. That and some more stuff. But anyway, that was kind of the turning point when I was like, y'all are nuts, but but anyway, they heard this at home, obviously, because, they hadn't heard it at school and they hadn't heard it at church. So they had been hearing this shit at home with all of these holy Christians, and I'm still a Christian, but I'm also a sinner. So anyway, I wanted to do something. So I had a thought, and I went and I spoke to several hairstylists in this community in like a 10-15 mile radius, something like that. I talked to, several. There's a bunch of us. We all interact with each other. We, do you have this hair color? I need this. I don't have enough perm rods to do this specific perm. This girl's got, 3 heads of hair, basically, or I've got 4 perms in one day, help, that kind of thing. So we always communicated with each other. So I went to them and asked them if they wanted to help. And they were like, yeah. So I contacted a girl on our local news channel, why I contacted her was not to get on the news. It did end up doing that, but that wasn't the point. I knew that this news crew was going to Camp Gruber where these victims were being bused to. And I wanted in, and you couldn't get in. They had it, I mean, armed guards. It was a military base. They had it sealed off. You could not get in there. Okay. So I got a hold of this news. She was on channel 2 at the time, and 2 works for you, it would say. So I said, well, I need you to work for me. I need you to get me in. She didn't know me from, she didn't know me from Adam. So basically, I said, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to go in. I want to do haircuts. I want to do pedicures. I want to do manicures. She goes, you realize these people have been wading in water for days, and, they've not had baths. They're going to be, it's going to be bad. She said, we are giving them showers and stuff when they get there. But if you want to come the next day, everybody will have been showered and it will be better, but you still need to understand their feet and hands are going to be in terrible condition. And I said, I don't care. That's my job. You would not imagine what I have fixed. And I said, as far as the haircuts, that's just to make them feel better if they want one. I said, if they want me to blow dry their hair out or something, I'll do that. Whatever. I mean, whatever I've got time to do. And I'm bringing people with me. She said, okay. So, they had been staying in the Superdome, and I don't know if y'all have heard all the stories about that, but it ended up a pretty brutal place to be. There was a lot of crime going on in there. So these people were not only devastated over having lost everything they had, people had died, everything, lost their pets, cars, jobs. I mean, their places of employment were gone. And now they're being bused to Oklahoma. They're probably thinking, oh, God. And let's face it, Oklahoma has a pretty good reputation for being racist. And a lot of these people were Black. Okay. Not all, not even close, but a lot of them were. And they said, whenever I was talking to them, that made them nervous and that they were assured that we're going to put you in a military base. You're going to be fine. We're going to take care of you. So anyway, so several stylists claimed that they wanted to help. And in the end, none of them did. None of them. I mean, I literally asked like 20. Not one of them helped. Okay. No one would donate to the cause. They wouldn't donate product, towels. I said, you can put your name on them. I'll use your towels and I'll wash them and, I'll get them back to you, within a couple days. I mean, I'm going to be there 2 days and I'll get them back to you within a couple days after that. No, nobody would donate anything. Except for the ladies at the church who they quilt. They get together like once a week and they quilt, and they have all these quilts backed up. And then if they find somebody that needs them, they give these quilts out. They filled a couple trunks, like car trunks, full of quilts for me to take. You cannot imagine when we got there how a quilt that somebody had made them feel. Not made them, but made and then gave to them. So anyway, it was something. So off to Camp Gruber we go, right? And I went with literally my mom, my daughters, and another lady from another area church that went. Me and my daughter could do hair and everything, but the others couldn't legally do it. Well, so I'm like looking it all up and everything, and they could legally do it. They just couldn't charge for it, which was not a problem because nobody was getting paid. We weren't doing this for money. So they could all do, manicures and pedicures, which freed me and my daughter, my oldest daughter, up to do haircuts and that kind of stuff. And we still did a lot of because mainly they needed manicures and pedicures. It was a mess. So anyway, we made it was about a 4-hour trip, round trip. We made that 2 days, and we helped 200 or 300 out of the 600 or 800 that were there at the time that we were there. And the ones that didn't, I mean, I would have come back a third day if people had signed up. We had them signing up. And if people had signed up, we would have done that. I would have went for a week. I didn't care. But anyway, in that time, we did haircuts, manicures, and pedicures. I know it sounds silly, but it wasn't really all that expensive, thanks to Mark. And we made a difference. We worked about 12 to 14 hours a day for both of those days and then made that drive. We were freaking exhausted. Both nights we were just crying by the time we got home. We were so exhausted. And I took the next day off and just cried because I had heard so many stories and I was just physically and mentally exhausted, and I can't imagine what they were feeling, right? I cannot imagine. And yes, we met some prostitutes. We also met lawyers, a classical violinist, doctors, trashmen, mailmen, a judge, homeless people, retired people, poor people, wealthy people, middle class people, white, black, Mexican, y- mixtures of all. I don't even know. I didn't care. The only thing that I was concerned with, if they were white or black, was that I knew how to cut their hair, that I knew how, what to do with it, because it's a big difference. We had these precious little black ladies, okay? Like, I'm talking about old black ladies, a lot of them. I mean, like, in their 80s. One of them was in their 90s, okay? And oh my god, they would cry because they never thought that in their lifetime that they would ever see a white woman, which we were all white women, wash the feet of a black person. And we gladly did it, and we polished those nails up, those toenails and their fingernails, and we made them smell pretty again, and got the, calluses, and we doctored their blisters and stuff. I brought, like, what is that, that triple antibiotic cream? I brought that and some Band-Aids. I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't a doctor, so I couldn't doctor them, but I did put a little bit of antibiotic cream on them and a Band-Aid if they had a cut on their toe or their hand, or some of them had on their arms or their face where they had fallen. I mean, y'all, it broke my heart. So, they weren't all black, like I said. I mean, some of them were. The only thing that I knew for sure that all of us were sinners, every single one of us, and none of that mattered. So when I read Alberto's quotes on the cult's webpage, I cried remembering Camp Gruber. I remembered the little 8-year-old boy that schooled me, who had been doing hair for years and had been doing hair on all kinds of ethnic varieties. I was very lucky that I was friends with some black girls and Mexican girls and all kinds of people in beauty school that taught me how to do different kinds of hair, how to do braids, how to do um, dreads, how to cut their hair. But anyway, this little boy schooled me on something I didn't know, which was how to actually cut lines and designs in somebody's hair. And that was really went over big. It went over big, and how you have to get it short enough and everything to be able to actually, you got to be short, and then you really short, and then you got to, which takes over and over and over of cutting, or with the clippers, and then using it to make the lines and all this. And it was so fun. And he would come running over there, and he would bring me like a snack that he brought me an apple that they had saved from what people had passed out, and it was the most powerful 2 days of my life. And I say powerful because it was powerful to me. It I wasn't powerful. I didn't do anything that anybody else that they wouldn't have done if they'd have thought of it. And some people just don't think of it, and it was such a silly thing, haircuts, pedicures, and manicures. But it was literally life-changing for me. And when I got back to the Sunday school, they like, "Why would you go do that? That's just gross. Did you soak your hands in bleach when you were done?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I didn't wanna wash them off of me. I wanted to remember every single person that I touched and hugged and handed a quilt to, whether I did anything for them, whether Megan or Mom or Sherry, no matter who did it, it just, you cannot imagine how you feel. Like, they give you much more than you give them." We ended up on, just as a sideline, we ended up doing the same thing at a women's rescue shelter, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks later. and it was amazing too, but not honestly, not as amazing as these victims of this, you know, horrible thing that people were calling names. And I don't care if every single person was a prostitute. I don't care. They're human and they lost everything. And that's what these people are doing. And Scientology is making a photo op out of it. So we spent, I didn't count the gas in it, but we spent about $500 on product and stuff. And gas was probably about $50 at the time. This is several years ago. And we had to take 2 vehicles to fit all the stuff in it because we had a lot of, we could have all rode together, but we had a lot of quilts and we had a lot of supplies. And we also gathered up chips and just all kinds of stuff like that to hand to them. We took like um water bottles. I went to like the Dollar Tree and bought a lot of water bottles. There's just those plastic ones that are, I mean, nothing. I bought like stickers for the kids and they were putting them on their water bottles and it was just amazing. But us little women from Oklahoma and $500 made a difference, and I guarantee you that those people still remember us. I guarantee it. I still remember them. I can still see their faces. I can still hear their stories. And I guarantee they still remember us. And Scientology is a multi-billion-dollar cult who gets a tax exemption because they lie and say that they give a flying shit about people, and they don't. They don't care about anybody. They obviously don't even care about their own people. But they don't care about anybody. And to stand and do a photo shoot, I swear to God, that is evil. Absolute evil. By the way, the reporter remains a friend of mine today. We still talk a couple, 3 times a week. So she's at a different station now. She's actually doing kind of a, like, she moves from station to station and just does things, freelance kind of deal. So anyway, my point of that story is not to get attention or clout or anything from me, I swear. I almost didn't tell it, but it fit so good with what could be done and what they're not doing. If we could make a huge impact on these people, can you imagine what's the Church of Scientology could do if they just practice what they preach? If they just did what they tell everybody they do? I mean, you don't want to put out the money, then just go help somebody else hand out stuff. But leave your fucking literature at home. I didn't take any literature from the Baptist church to try to wheel them in there or to any kind of church. I prayed with them if they wanted to pray. If they didn't even know that we came and that we had anything to do with the church because I felt very let down by my church. So I didn't go in there and say, I'm from the Baptist church. No, I didn't. I said that the ladies from a Baptist church in my area sent you these quilts. That's what I said. That was the only time I mentioned the church. I didn't hand out anything. I didn't hand out Bibles. Some of them would have loved it, I'm sure. And if I'd had longer to plan it, maybe I would have tried to get a hold of like a Christian bookstore and see if I could have gotten some at even a discount because, that stuff's not cheap. And I'm just me. And my daughters were still living at home. So 3 of the 5 of us was my pocketbook, basically. They not only do nothing, but they take credit. And they go out of their way to do nothing. They take credit for doing stuff that they didn't do, and then they go out of their way to not do anything. They use more effort to not help than actual helping would take. It's really not that hard. It's really not. And with their manpower, they wouldn't have had to have any 2, 10, 50 of their volunteer ministers out there at any time. They could have rotated them out every several hours and been fine. But no, they don't even do that. They are a family destroying, child and elder abusing, income tax evading, real estate scheming, money laundering cult. And I will fight to destroy them with everything I've got and to support their victims, past and present, until I mentally and physically can't do it anymore. So I hope that that's a long time, but at the same time, I hope that it's not a long time because I hope that we get them shut down before I'm too old. And I support any of you all who also have that goal, whether you be viewers, other um, creators, whatever. I chatters, lurkers, whatever. I don't care. I want to be friends with you. I want us to work together, and even if it is just to support each other and you know support the ones that are out there doing the protesting, that are doing it right and not out there screaming at people and acting crazy. And there's not even that many protesters left that are doing it right. I mean, there's a select few, and we know who they are. A lot of them are in our chat, a lot. Some of them aren't, but a lot of them are. And it's this community has had enough. We've had enough drama. And I did make a post on my community page that I'd like for you, if you haven't read it, to go read, because I really told how I feel about this whole drama thing. And the drama thing is hurting us bad because it's driving some of you all away. I've had so many people that have just said they're sick of it. And if they're so sick of it, Scientology is just going to get stronger and stronger. They're going to start rebuilding because we're not out doing the, good protesting. We're not out making videos. We're not out helping people. It's like everybody's out to destroy everybody in this community, when we really ought to be joining together and calling Scientology out on why are they not doing what they say they are. We just need to do that. That's what we can do. Some of us can go help with people that are, having this issue with this fire and whatever other natural disaster hits next, because there's always something. Always. They're having earthquakes in Northern California. It's just not making the news as much because this fire has really, done a number on the state. And another thing I'm sick of is I'm sick of the media only talking about the celebrities that have lost their homes. And I feel for every single one of them. I don't feel any different for them than I do for the, Joe and Mary down the road that lost their home or whatever. But I'd like to see some just normal people and not just the celebrities. Because you get to thinking that all California is and all LA is celebrities, and it couldn't be further from the truth. It's really not. I was raised there. I know. But y'all, I just want to encourage you. I told you that story, not so I'd get attention, not so you'd think I was, so helpful or whatever. And certainly not for the trolls that'll come in and say, oh, she was bragging and she was, no, none of that. But I did it to show that we can all do something. And whether it be writing to our lawmakers about their tax exemption, whether it be paying attention to who supports them and who doesn't whenever it comes time for elections, whether it be not putting up with the preachers in our church demanding who we vote for or who we don't vote for. The same with anybody, police officers, your dentist. I don't want anybody telling me how to vote. I don't want anybody telling me anything. And I have voted pretty much equally on both sides of the deal. I'm not going to talk politics, but I'm just saying. It's another thing we need to pay attention to as individual people. We need to pay attention to all of that. We need to pay attention to who's doing the work and who's saying they did the work and hold them accountable. And we just need to, if pray or good wishes, whatever you do, then do that. You do you, boo. I'm not saying everybody's got to pray. No. For years I was a Christian and I didn't pray. Honestly, I didn't think I was like good at it or whatever. So I felt like weird. So I wouldn't do it. So I just want us to get rid of Scientology and let people know. If each of us told 10 people that their crap that's on the news and the things that they say that they do to help everybody is nothing but a lie, Imagine how many people that is. If every one of us told 10 people, and I'm not talking about just the people that's in here right now, I'm talking about the ones that'll watch it later, the ones that'll see things on other channels. And if the trolls would just do the same thing and quit worrying about telling me that I'm a grifter or telling me that I just want attention or telling me, how it was with Aaron, that, which is ridiculous since I've never met the man. But we've got to stop fighting each other. And these fires proved that. These people, that some of them have got beefs with each other, whether it's, personal beefs, political, religious, whatever, right? Some of them don't stand up for what some of the others are. There's people there that are racist, but nobody's acting out. They're all joining together and trying to help each other, except Scientology. And I don't know about y'all, but that makes me furious and sick at the same time. Now I'm going to quit crying. So I'm going to go see what I don't know what it is about Streamyard, but it cuts off a lot of the comments that come in at the beginning. So if I don't say something to you, it's because I honestly can't see it. It's gone. And so I don't know what to say. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm ever ignoring them, because I really don't ignore people. So anyway, I'm just going to go down the list. I know I've said hi to Marilee and Joel and Hef and Evie, and hold on a second. I'm going to move down here a little bit. Eileen, Totally Jersey. Okay, we were talking about my chart, so I've been there. DJ Nico. Aw, been in a musical creative mood. Aw, that's cool. I've been in the mood to paint, and I think I might actually take the day completely off tomorrow and paint. I think I just need to paint, especially after this. This live was hard for me. It was hard because I really did a lot of thinking about, the people that I saw at Camp Gruber from New Orleans, and it made me cry, but it also made me happy because they survived. Let's see here. Yeah, gives new meaning to be careful of yellow jackets. Ah, yeah, what a load of horse hockey. I agree. Guys, I really do. Oh, Jill's right. There's a big difference between a hand out and a hand up. Good on you, Susie. Thank you, but honestly, yeah. If you just knew, I wish that I had taken pictures, but I didn't, because I didn't want to invade their privacy. But I did take a couple of selfies that they allowed me to take, but I didn't post them because, I didn't want to, I mean, not that you would know who they were probably, but I don't, you never know who's going to see stuff on the internet. And some of these people, the pictures, they were crying in them, and, the selfies, it was me and them, or my mom and them. But these people, oh, it was awful. Their poor feet. It was terrible, the condition they were in. And they drove from, okay, now this pissed me off, y'all. They drove from New Orleans. They picked them up at the Superdome, and they drove to Camp Gruber, which is about 2 miles, 2 hours north, I had to think, northeast of Tulsa. And anyway, it's around Muskogee. It's further than Muskogee if y'all start looking anything up. So anyway, it's there. They never stopped. Never stopped for a potty break. Never stopped to get them anything to eat. Never stopped. That's a big, long ride. I've driven straight through from Drumright to New Orleans. Well, we've stopped for food, but we didn't stop and spend the night anywhere. But I can't imagine not stopping for anything. Not anything. That's torture too. I mean, it's almost like they were on a prison bus and they weren't prisoners. It just, ugh. Oh, Marilee agrees. Joel says, what Susie is saying is proof of how much you get out of giving of yourself. Kindness can and does change the world. It does. Oh, Marilee says, that's why we love you, Susie. You give from the heart. I don't know. You should have seen my hands. I needed a manicure after it was over. And this one little sweet lady was like, do you want me to rub this lotion on your hands? And I said, no, honey, that's okay. And she goes, let me rub this lotion on your hands. And so she sat there and she rubbed lotion on my hands and my arms. And I swear sometimes when I'm rubbing lotion on my hands, I can feel her doing it. And I mean, this has been a long, long time ago, and it's still so fresh that it feels like it was last week. It feels like this happened since our trip to Savannah. And it, if y'all ever get a chance to really help somebody, and I know some of you have, I'm not lying, if you get a chance, I don't mean it like that. I mean, if you get a chance or you've had the chance, if you've had the chance, you know what I'm talking about. And it just, I don't know, maybe the Church of Scientology would be kinder people if they really did get out and do what they say they do, but they don't. They just cheat people and try to get more people in. But anyway, I've been informed. Nico says prayers are lovely, but clenched hands can't do much productive. Yeah, pray in your mind and use the body and hands to help. That's God's will in my view. Love you, Susie. I love you too. I really do. Been wonderful to hear about you all today. I look forward to seeing you all later. I love you, Joel. You're such a sweetheart. Marilee, I am going to go. I'm going to close out right now before I get in trouble, because I know that you and Mischief will be getting on to me. So I might not be on tomorrow. I'm really thinking I'm going to paint. But I might. You never know. I'm going to see. I'm going to see what stories I look at and decide to do. So, if I'm not here tomorrow, I'll be here the next day for sure. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.